Hey everyone, we are back with a really quick, this time Metro Siege specific update, and by we of course I mean with me as always is Corey. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And this one is going to be, it's kind of a soft launch of a playable demo specifically right now for the Amiga version of Metro Siege. It should not take Alex Brown, the programmer, much time to eventually export out a demo that could be played on Windows systems for those of you who might have learned about Bitbeam Canon and our projects later on with maybe Damon Claw, might not have Amiga computers or know what they are, or have an Amiga emulator set up. So that will certainly come at some point in the future, but for now this is like actual Amiga download, like ROM file type stuff that you Amigans can actually download and play. So that's maybe I put the cart before the horse, but that's the announcement. Is there is a playable demo now available of Metro Siege. You can see here, links of course will be in this video, but you can see here metrosiege.com download, where you could download the actual zip file, which has it in several versions, which this explains. Those of you who use real Amigas or emulate them will know what this stuff means. And then there is also a moves page, since there's no actual printed manual yet and no training mode in the game per se, at least not yet. It's got all of the core combat moves for Metro Siege for the two characters that you can select currently in the demo. Nice. And the third character will remain a mystery for now. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, and for those of you who have been following Metro Siege since the beginning, you will know it started quite a few years ago, and at the time Alex, a programmer, he had the time between his day job and family life and all that stuff. He had the time to make steady progress, and then there was a long stretch of time in more recent history where things just would not allow him to be able to spend the time to make really strong progress. And luckily, as of maybe a little over a month ago, I don't remember for sure, I'm terrible with dates, but his time freed up a lot, and he's really been making great progress with Metro Siege. And his first goal was he wanted to finally get a playable demo out to the public, and he has done that. And so super exciting stuff for those of you who have been following Metro Siege or just like beat 'em up games in general. Please do give it a try, give it a look. And like I said, if you don't know what an Amiga computer is yet, don't worry about it. Stay tuned on our social media and this YouTube channel, and we're sure to announce once the demo is more easily accessible to everyone else. Yep, and it was released very recently, but it's already getting some very nice coverage. Thank you very much, Indie Retro News. And there have been people that have already been playing, and they're saying great things. Maybe I can put some of the comments people have been making up on the screen, future me in editing this video, I mean. But yeah, so really great. And it's also great always to get feedback, whether or not that feedback is glowingly positive or not. Absolutely. So I did notice one comment down here by Anonymous here. It's got the same horrible floating movement animations as the Amiga beat-em-ups like Body Blows and the abominable Street Fighter 2 port. It took me a while to figure out what this meant, but I did realize that almost certainly, this is my guess, please Anonymous, clarify if you can if this is not what you meant, but I'm pretty sure this has to do with what I call the combat shuffle, the kind of walk that most game characters tend to have in these kind of games. And it's really for two reasons. Logistically, when you're in combat with a group of people, you're not going to casually walk up on people. You're going to be in a combat stance, and you're going to be using footwork shuffling around. And so, as an example, one of the games that's the biggest influence, you could see Alex has a normal walk, but the enemies, most of them, they have a weird kind of shuffly move, and that can vary pretty greatly. If you look at this big guy here, you know, the legs, they never cross. They just kind of go back and forward a little. Yeah. So
and this is, I mean, this is incredibly common for most beat 'em ups, or at least the enemies. You're correct. It's a tricky thing because you're doing it to partially save memory.
Exactly.
But also real movement like that would be a little more subtle in real life. You know what I mean? So you're trying to strike a balance with like one animation that can cover all of it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so like that's the big thing. And the good news is, one, and we really do appreciate all feedback. And, if you've got complaints, send them because it is still very much a work in progress. But the good news is one of the first things that Alex Brown did when he was able to get back into like really solid Metro Siege development is optimize things on the code and the memory taking side of things. And he was able to free up, which is amazing considering what he's been able to get to fit on an Amiga with a total of 1 meg of memory already. But he was able to free up quite a bit of memory, so that actually will give us the ability, the possibility to consider adding a few more leg body part images to at least some of the core characters, or the character that definitely suffers from the floaty walk, so to speak, or the floaty move the most is Kim. Future Mike will put some footage of Kim up there. But like her basic stance, her feet are so far apart that they don't come anywhere near crossing. It does look weird, especially if you expect them to look like, expect it to look like a regular walk, which you kind of shouldn't. You know what I mean? It is weird that Alex and Cody from Final Fight go into a very normal, casual walk, even if they're surrounded by a bunch of people trying to kill them.
Yeah, you would want it to be like they do the regular walk until enemies appear. And
exactly.
In like a fighting stance.
Exactly. In an ideal situation with plenty of memory. But in the case of the Mega Drive and even arcade games back then, it was trying to fit everything in the chips or the cartridge space or whatever, which was very expensive back then. On the Amiga, it's about fitting things in the RAM. And so that was the huge bottleneck. So, but the great news is that's all work in progress. And now there's actually a little bit of wiggle room memory wise. So we might be able to tweak all that and make it all the better. I can tell you definitely none of the characters are going to be casual walking, but there's definitely room now, and we'll have the time. And thanks to the feedback, it's on our radar. And I will spend the time to readdress and at least try to make them look more natural with the rate of movement and stuff like that.
I can add an anecdotal, my experience with this. Because I made Officer Bob, the boss of level 1. That's the only character I actually made for this game thus far.
So far, exactly.
Yeah, so far. But I remember I gave him more of a normal walk, I think, at the start. And it had to be forced into that, shuffle mode or whatever. Yeah. And even I was a little like, I was a little disappointed that that had to happen.
Yeah.
Of course, he does have a funny run animation, which was
that turned out so beautifully. Yeah, I love Bob.
Yeah, so like obviously this is early and always work in progress. So there's plenty of work to be done on this game, and we're excited about getting back into it. I haven't myself yet. Of course, I've been fully working on Damon Call,
and I did have a thought, like for those of you who don't know, just to explain the kind of extremes that we had to go through to fit what exists, the big amount of moves. If I go back to the move list, every character, the playable characters, have a huge move list relative to these kinds of games. And then for a lot of these moves, like grabs and throws, you need the enemies to have the equivalent to getting grabbed or getting hit and stuff like that. And in order to fit this many moves, the only way to do it was to use what's called modular animation. So every animation frame of every character is made just using positional data for the same few body part images for that particular character. Right. So, and in fact, a lot of the enemies have to reshare body parts. Like you'll notice like different characters have the same pants on or something like that. Like everything possible. So keep in mind, every frame of every animation is made as a compromise to fit in memory out of as few repeated body parts as possible and just shifting them around. So those are the kind of things that you don't necessarily know about or have to think about, but keep that in mind when you're like really looking at a retro game like this and you say, oh, like that animation is choppy or not ideal or something. It's not like we can hand draw every frame and create every frame and as many frames as we want to. So yeah, keep that in mind. Like, judge it compared to other 16-bit console games at the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, so that is it for this one. Again, thanks everyone. Thanks Alex for getting this demo out there. Thanks everyone who has and who will take the time to try the demo and give us feedback. It very much is a work in progress, and hopefully you'll be able to see over time that we're putting a ton of love and work into this game like we do with all of our games, and your feedback definitely will make a difference. So, but that'll be it for this video and this update. Thanks very much for watching.
If you enjoy our content and want to keep up to date on our games, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want to support our projects, consider becoming a patron. The link's in the description, and we'll see you soon.